Breaking generational curses is not an easy thing to do. As a matter of fact, since the very day I can remember, all my life I had to fight. Since the very day I came into this world, it was a fight and a struggle for me to survive. And to break away from a lot of the dysfunction that I came into this world and observed and was brought up in. To separate from all of that was a task that like one person, like whoever before me tried to take this on, not sure who, but they obviously failed because there's just too much to do to break it. Because if they had done something, then it would have been easier for me. Wouldn't that be the case? But it's not the case for me. I have a long, grueling battle to break free from these generational curses. And it's not just because the patterns are there and that the people don't want to change. It's also that the people don't want to change and they are used as activated agents to make it harder for you to pull out of the dysfunctional system because they try their best not to make you expose it because they depend on it to survive even though it is dysfunctional. That's all they know, right? And they fight to keep it in place. Like, no wonder it looks so cultish the moment you have gone through your awakening and you're like, something just ain't right with this whole family system. It's toxic. It's double standard. There's so much abuse, so much unspoken rules, and it's draining, right? It's toxic because it's draining, and it's draining because it's toxic. So I'm going to go into. I'm going to start from the beginning, right? All my unbelievable life since I came into this world. All the stories I heard from relatives who told me da 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 da. Anyways, I know for a fact that in my family, well, bloodline, let's say bloodline, because I can only go off of most of the stories that I've heard, okay? So let's say when I was a young baby, couple months old, right? I was laying in my crib, minding my own business. I was told this story, by the way, so I'm just telling it back the way I heard it. Anyways, I heard that um, I was not eating. I was laying in the crib laughing with myself. And eventually, my mother said that was not a good sign. So she carried me to the church, carried me to get prayer. None of that worked. So she carried me to a reader man. He His name was Reverend Naughty, if anybody knows him. Well, he's passed on years now. And he eventually adopted me as a granddaughter, something like that. Well, I guess it was in his mind because I can't really recall him being there for me as a adopted father. Anyways, you can't recall that. So it was just words. Anyways, yeah, so the last resort was her to carry me to this place, right? He suggested that I get a wash off because based on his reading, he does tarot card reading, right? And he reads up your destiny or whatever. Don't worry, I'm going to get into all of the reasons why I don't do these things, right? But I'm starting from the get go, let you have an understanding why me breaking the generational curses is long and grueling for me, because there's so much tentacles that is all over in evil and all these things that when you're to expose them, they don't want it to be exposed, so they hold on to it as a survival system. It does not benefit them, but they tell themselves that it benefits them, that the evil benefits them. But when they you see you doing the good and you're gonna get the baruka, they want to take it from you. I don't understand it. If the evil benefits them, if doing the evil benefits them, why is it when you are getting the baruka for doing good, they want to take it? Shouldn't you doing the evil should have given you some baruka? That, you feel me? Anyways, where was I? Yes. So I was brought to this man, right? He suggested a wash off, right? Because he said that dopey was on me or whatever. And if I did not get help, then the aim was death, right? I would just stay there, not eat, and be possessed until I pass on and back to meet my maker. So they washed me off, and eventually that was spirit was gone. That was that. So only came to find out through being told this story that these relatives who were around part of my father's family, right? When my mother and my father was talking, he had some relatives, some aunties and some such and such. They worked witchcraft, and they were playing basically witchcraft wars, because I don't know what the heck that was. You're sending witchcraft after people that you, anyways. My mother said they didn't like her, so they sent witchcraft after her. She and them was always at odds, so they sent witchcraft after her. But the thing is, she said it didn't catch her, it catch me instead. The innocent baby lying in the crib, right? And it almost took my life. So yeah, them playing with, to this day, I still feel they do dabble in it. Those family are extremely evil, right? And I will tell you why I say they are evil still to this day, right? That's why even those part of the families, I don't really, I haven't gone down that side in a while. Anyways, everything will make sense when I get to the finalization. All right, so this demon was cast off. I'm better now, right? I'm growing. For a while, I was living there with him, right? Could you believe that she told me that when she carried me home? Oh no, I'm jumping ahead of it. There was so much things that happened to me at that house. Like I was like, are these things um coincidental, or was it just something to just take my life away? Because like, oh, could so many things happen to just one little person? And it's not like daddy have one child, right? I have been told that I'm the last child, and so much negative things happened to me at that house. But then again, I think daddy said he had a son. He said he had two sons. One big now, the older one, that's what I know. And he said one passed on when he was very young. So it would have been two sons he would have had now, but one died. Da da da. Anyways, so after that whole ordeal, right? I didn't pay it much mind, but I had it in my mind from a young age that there was some set of people in the bloodline that does witchcraft, right? So I thought it was only them. Now that I've been here at this awakening stage now, I'm realizing that it is a tentacle that has been wrapped around a lot of the relatives, and if they are not aware that they are doing it, uh because of what I know now, why Yahuwah says don't suffer witch to live and don't get divination reading and such. I'm gonna tell you why I see that even if they are not burning candles and doing certain things, the witchcraft spirit is still in the bloodline, like using them against other people in the bloodline. So being at daddy's house, I've always had a bad feeling that that place was just it's just constant witchcraft attacks directed at that place, right? And the main target is him. I'm going to say the main target is him because to this very day, I realize that he has always been a victim of spiritual warfare. For one, um, for those who know my dad, right, his legal name is Lester Bullock, but he is I would call him DJ or a reggae artist. So once you know his legal name, you'll know what his stage name is. He should be a billionaire. He should be pocketing billions and living a decent life. But you seeing him, you would not say that because his lifestyle does not reflect that. His levity does not reflect that. And if you know what you know about his past and who the family are that surround it, then you'll understand why his life does not reflect that. And I'm going to say myself why I feel like that, why he is stuck. So most of the times people work witchcraft because of jealousy and envy, right? As my mother said, they didn't like her, some jealousy or bad mind was going on, so they sent witchcraft after her, right? I feel like they're doing it to daddy as well. Because for one, every time he tries to get his money up, it always crash and burn or some endeavors to start business and it don't work out well. Yes, there are times when he has his addictive habits that literally cause him not to show up for shows and do like he's like market himself as the voice, the vehicle for his talent. But there are other underlining things that have suppressed him as well. For one, um, this was something that happened to me. I've more than one occasion for myself, right? Other than the story that my mother told me. I remember when I was around 7 or so years old. My father was outside talking to somebody at the gate. I went inside. That was before my dad built his big 3-story house that he has now. That was when Bordeaux was around and the floor was creaky. Every step you make, people would know you're in the house, right? When I left him at the gate, I went into this house, left him talking to a neighbor. I stepped in because the first entry that you come into the house was like a little dining area with a table. Then you turn right, and there would be something that would look like my room with a crib still in it. I'm 7 year old. How is the crib? He was a hoarder. A crib is still in the room, right? And then you would go across, and then there would be his room. So I stop at the door to enter the room from the dining area, and I see this piggy looking thing on the ground. I thought it was a savings piggy bank that you would put silk coins in. And I was like, but we don't have a savings piggy bank at this home to put coins in. That's the first time I'm seeing that. So I take 2 steps and I'm cautiously walking towards this thing because the light was off. The only light was on in the house was the light in daddy's room, right? So I'm depending on that light to kind of shine a light on what I'm seeing, but I know that it's the outline of a piggy bank. So I step to it and I'm like, what this pink looking piggy bank doing here? The thing started to move. And when I tell you, when it moved and turned around and faced me, that thing had a bright, piercing, reddish pink eyes, right? Like these two colors would be mixed to get a bright reddish pink eyes. You know that bright pink color, right? The pig is pink, light pink, like, but the eyes were bright reddish pink. And that thing stepped to me, like slowly stepping forward. When I realized that this thing was moving, I stepped backwards. I was like, this can't be normal. What is this? So the more it stepped closer, the more I stepped backward. So till I turned around and I darted out there. I ran to my father's foot and I clutched on his legs for dear life. And I never left his foot that day until he decided to go inside. I didn't even tell him what happened. I was so scared as a child. I mean, I was so scared to the point that when it was time to go inside, I let him lead the way and I stood there looking to see if he would shout and say, "Where did this piggy come from?" But he didn't say that. He went in, he didn't see nothing, and I was like, so when I went in, I was like, so where's the piggy thingy? I didn't see it. I didn't see it. I know I was not hallucinating. I did not see it. Right? So frankly, for me, at that point, I didn't put two and two together yet that witchcraft activity was going on at the house. It's later on, after like sitting and going through experiencing that and meditating on these experiences, that I was like, oh my goodness, this family has been suffering from witchcraft in the bloodline. Anyways, so after that, I wasn't really living mostly with my father. Majority of my life, I lived with my mother, right? So when I do went there on and off, it was just like probably spend a couple of days, then I'm off. Anyways, as I got older, I remember a friend of his looked at me, and that friend told me that she was at the house one day and she saw a relative there, and she cracked the door and she saw the relative throwing some powder thingy on the floor, and the relative was stomping it and saying like just like your mother or something like that, and he was stomping the thing on the ground, and she saw him throwing some other stuff. She didn't know what it was, and then she said she bust the door open so that they would alert the person that she was there. And when the person saw her, they stopped, and they had this intense stare down for like couple seconds. Then she hissed her teeth and turned around and locked back the door. And she said, really and truly, that's an evil act. And I caught them in the act, and they couldn't even say anything. They just teared me down like I'm not doing anything. And they didn't say anything. So I was like, are you serious? Yes, I'm serious. Anyways, I took what she said, but I didn't judge anybody from that, because remember, I'm not fully tapped into this yet to say, okay, this is definitely the tentacles that's holding down this bloodline. I'm still growing. I'm still hearing other stories. I'm still observing stuff, some wicked little acts here and there, seeing some stuff, seeing some bad mind, seeing some jealousy. So I'm like, okay, I'm hearing more stories, neighbors doing wickedness against him, this, that. Listen to me, my father is not perfect, right? He has not been the perfect of dad. And a lot of his children would have stories for days how perfect he has not been, right? As a dad. But that does not excuse the fact that people have literally been doing wickedness against him, right? So yeah, they tell lies on him. They at one point they confessed to carrying him to the hospital to give him mental injection, because they told lies on him that he was of unsound mind, and he was telling them, let me go, I'm in my right mind. Which, if a man tell you he's in his right mind, he really is in his right mind. And they carried him more than once to do that, right? And I don't remember if I said it in the last video, but a lot of these narcissists, they will work against you to get a record on you, so that when they are doing the wickedness, people will justify and be on their side to say, oh yeah man, he deserve it, she deserve it, because see it, she do that wickedness, and she never in her right mind. And then they will back the narcissist to do the evil and the abuse against you, and they will justify it because of this, right? Even if they did not go and verify if these claims were true or not. Most of these people were paid off to act corrupt against you anyways. So maybe even if you did come and tell them the truth, this is not so, they ain't trying to hear that, because they got some money in their pocket, okay? Some of them, they want to believe so much in the lies against you, that you are the mentally unstable, so that they could take advantage of you. They want to believe that so bad, to take advantage of you, to see you buried, that they will believe it even if the evidence against you says otherwise, that you are that this don't look right. So as I've said, it is something that I've been observing over a period of time, since I've been young till I've been grown, and I've been really meditating on it. And I'm like, yes, as I said, that man has not been perfect, but they have done him a lot of wickedness. And it is evident, those who are really been preying it, you can see. Maybe those who are on the outside, that he's not really telling his business, they wouldn't really understand it to be like that. They would just might say, oh, he's this and he's that, because people will always have lots to say, right? And yeah, so I realized that whatever was keeping my father down was not something that any lawyer could rectify, right? His issues were definitely spiritual warfare issues, right? Because I have literally seen him hire private investigators to track down people who have been stealing his money. And I was like, oh, then he should be finally getting money in his bank account, right? Still dry. And even if the money was coming, it was not flowing like to match the status that they said he should be getting, like millions of dollars, barely scraping anything. So I was like, so you're hiring private investigator. At one point, he said he was trying to hire a lawyer to you know, if he had to sue some people and get some stuff done so that his money could start flowing, right? Those who aren't paying him, then they will pay him. And I stood there and I watched these issues, these investigator talks, these lawyer talks, these they're trying to build businesses. They went on for years and years, and if he did start something, it just didn't work out. Eventually, one day I looked at him and I said, Pops, why don't you just pack up and just go somewhere in the country, chill a bit, relax, and get away from here? Because you know, most of the negative energy that affects you is because of the bad mind and the things that are going on. I didn't mention witchcraft, but I said it's because of the fighting, because it was evident. One time he was telling me how, oh, I'm tired of the fight and the this and the that. So I was like, okay, so since you realize that this is getting you down, right? He's sickly, by the way, and that is also another part of it, right? You can see that they've tied down his health, they've tied down his finances, they've tied down like his mental health. Anyways, so at this point, I was like, definitely, this is not just something that he can fight with getting a lawyer to free up his finances. This is definitely a spiritual warfare against him. So I said, even if he didn't move, even if moving, as I said, didn't rectify everything, which I didn't think it would, but at least it would give him a breakaway from all the negative people around him, right? Even if they still could do something, at least that would clear his mind a bit, right? That was the intention. And then when you start thinking, then with clarity, then you could say, okay, these are stuff that needs to be done, right? Things would don't know to start coming to you. No, 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 I don't want to leave because anywhere else you go, bad mind, dede, grudgeful, dede, this, dede, that. I was like, okay, that's your choice. You don't want to leave. You want to stay here in all the mess and be an easy target. Be my guest. So I did not mention or bring up anything else about relocating or getting away from this, whatever he had to do. If he had to sell the house and go somewhere else and kiss that place goodbye, I was saying, do that, but do not stay here. Do not stay here. He was like, anywhere else you go, this, that, evil people, they everywhere. I was like, okay, sir, suit yourself. So he chose to stay, and everything get worse day by day by day by day. So he's still in his situation. The last time we spoke, I think he said he was going to hire a lawyer to really investigate why his money can't free up. But me looking on the spiritual side, I'm like, it is really a warfare issue. And these people have literally tied up his finances, or they stole his star or his destiny. They buried it somewhere. They did something to it so that all his money can be directed to them, right? They are the beneficiaries of all his wealth. That's why he's not seeing anything, getting nothing. That's why he looks the way he looks. And these people, as I said, they would keep the dysfunction, the toxicity, the narcissistic behavior going because it benefits them. That's how they have been surviving all this time and just hiding in the bloodline. And then when the speakers of truth come forward and say, but that ain't right. Why the bloodline just always look like this? Always this fighting, always a bunch of bad mind and jealousy. And you hear rumors of what you call it? Oh, witchcraft warfares, who are true witchcraft for who, and I'm like, what? Anyways, so I've realized that this is how it has been for quite some time. And I've also realized that even if, all right, because of my initiation in all of this, because remember, I told you, since I was a baby in the crib, they carry me down to these places to go get washed off because witchcraft war was going on in the bloodline. And I came as a baby, come see all of this, right? Not to mention multiple attempts where I could have been died. I could have died. I could have not been here. So much attempts on my life. I remember when, look at this, if you can see it properly, right? A scar on my arm. I was told, right, and this also happened when I was a baby. I couldn't even. It was so young. I couldn't even remember. Right. That's how heavy the witchcraft that was going on in this place. Because first of all, my mother said she was washing clothes and she saw the place was burning, and she went in and grabbed me and she realized that my arm was, burnt. So she carried me to the hospital, and she couldn't save anything. So my father was upset. He was like, "Oh, so why you never save nothing?" She said, "Oh, she fi stop or save anything, and the child need to get emergency assistance, right?" Sometimes people just It's just like men who all they think about is themselves. Why was that the first thing you had to ask? Why didn't you try and save anything else? Didn't she say try and save a life? The life of your child? Why would you have to question if she tried to save anything else? You know? So, yes, another attempt that I could have died as a baby when I didn't even have all this knowledge. All I had was the evidence and the scars and could ask these questions. So, how did I get this scar? So, how did I get that scar? So, what happened that X and X and Y and Z and how come certain family don't rock with us like we see other people family rock with them? You know what I'm saying? And then you have all these, you hear all these things, oh, these cousins bad mind and those aunties this and that, and then you're like, oh, so why are they like that? uh it's always the same stories, they who fighting who and who bad minding who. All right, so there was two stories of that incident, right? Father's house where I could have died, right? There are other stories of when I was, at other places. Uh, I think more than one time car hit me down and I got up and walk, probably with a limp, but I survived. But that was on the road though. When I tell you that I have survived some stuff, I have survived some stuff. Anyways, back to the whole realization of the stronghold of these demons in the bloodline. Like, so I realized that, what we are fighting against is these entities that were in the bloodline for probably generations, because as I said, I came and I saw them there, and then they were doing these things, and then they carry me to divination worker, and divination worker claim he adopted me as stepchild or grandchild or what, godfather, yes, godfather. So I realized that these things have been in the bloodline for quite some time, because if you born and see them, then they have been in place for generations, probably, right? Now I see why it has been so flipping hard to break free and do stuff. Yet, and no wonder I was like, why people could just get up and say, "Oh, I'm going to be an astronaut," and then boom, 2 days you hear they got accepted to astronaut training, and then boom, you next 6 months you hear they're gonna go to space. Things just came easy for them like that. But whereas your family, it was never like that. It was always, things took years. And then when it did come, it is not like you expected, right? And then sometimes a door would open, but if you told anybody, that door disappeared. Literally disappeared, or things would be going up, but the moment you told one of them people or friends or family member or neighbor, it is like it just disappeared. But when they tell you stuff, they just go higher and higher, because you are not working witchcraft against them, but they're doing things against you. They're speaking negativity against you. A lot of them, I realized they were the ones that were talking negative against you. And I could call some name, because yes, I've actually, maybe they forget that I am a seer, right? I literally would see things in my dreams. I see a lot of their faces doing witchcraft. So I know what I'm talking about when I say I don't trust some of them because they will work witchcraft. I have my reasons. A lot of them, I pass them almost every day, and I don't say nothing. I've never said anything, but a lot of them show up in my dreams. I see them working witchcraft, right, against me, and I pass them. And a lot of them, that's why most of the times I realize that the attitude towards me, their behavior, they have this guilty look, right? Some of them try to keep it cool, play it cool, but some of them, the demons are so evident that you pass by their house and they try to find a way to show you that they are demon possessed, right? Because there was one that neighbor that I passed her house. I passed her house regular, and her dogs were barking at my child. So I put my hand in the air, like, if this dog come closer, I'm going to hit him. It's self-defense, right? This demon possessed woman got angry and said, if you ever hit the dog, make I go broke up that broomstick upon you. So I turned and I walked because for one, it probably did take a while for the police come, and me never want a scar because I know me never did I go hit her back. But I definitely was gonna file a lawsuit because she clearly did not realize, because them not so righted in them, they're not sensible, that dogs don't have rights in Jamaica, but humans do. Humans do. So you cannot have your dogs, your little mongrels running around on the road, and people are defending themselves because the dog is barking at them, a child, and then you are going to threaten people and say, if you ever hit the dog, you're gonna broke on them. So I, not because I was scared, but I was like, these people ain't working. I don't them even have money to pay for a lawsuit. So let me just remove myself because she called the dog off. Because if that dog had ever tried bite me, anyways. So as I said, it just goes to show that, and why I mention her, because I've seen her face in my dreams a lot of time. If it's somebody using her face for the wickedness, right? Why is she showing up in my dreams as a familiar spirit? As a spirit where either she try fight against me in the dream, or she sit down around people where they are trying to humiliate me in the dream or something. You understand? So say she don't have a good heart, right? And therefore I can say, all right, these people are doing spiritual manipulation against me. Why else would she show up in the spirit realm with me as see her face? Because I don't see people face in my dreams for any random reason. They would have to be doing some form of spiritual manipulation for me to be seeing them in my dreams, either trying to humiliate me or fighting against me, right? That is my spirit warning, saying that the person here is against you. So I can only put them in one of two categories. Either they work in witchcraft, or they are praying bad prayer, or they're tinkering with things, right? If somebody is using their face, probably it would be a one-off thing. But these people, I've seen their faces in my dreams more than one time. So therefore, I cannot say, okay, a familiar spirit is using their face. It's definitely them with the negative energy, right? So yes, as I said, I've seen them. I literally see them, right? And the more that I tap into knowing Yahuwah, the more that I speak about Yahuwah, is the more these same people who one time they tried to be friends with me, it is the crueler they got, the meaner they got, the wickeder they got against me, right? And I remember in Samuel, it said, Samuel said to Shaul, um, disobedience is like witchcraft because Shaul did not do what Yahuwah told him to do. Instead, he went for the sacrifice. He carried it and he sacrificed the animals that Yahuwah tell him to kill in the land and don't carry it to Israel. He disobeyed. So that is what Shamuel told him. So these people, when they see you walking in light and in obedience to Yahuwah, they get angry, they get cruel, they get wicked against you. And especially because you're in your truth, right? Because I try my best to speak my truth. Why are they attacking me? Because a narcissist sat down with them and gossiped, which gossip is breaking the command of the Most High, because it is bearing false witness against your neighbor. And if you sit down and you gossip with a narcissist, you can basically characterize that under witchcraft because you are sinning, you're committing sin, right? Especially if you are exchanging information not with the intent to go and help, solve a problem, or rectify a situation. You exchange information so you can belittle people, lie against them, and smear their name. That is gossip. So it is fall under sin, and therefore it is witchcraft, it is disobedience. So